Well, for more, Sherri Goodman, a senior strategist from the Center for Climate and Security, joins us now live from Washington. Hi, Sherri. How are weather patterns like this going to affect us going forward, given this hurricane looks to have almost eliminated an entire island nation?
Well, yes, and the devastation there appears to be quite serious and quite tragic. With warmer air and sea temperatures now in the climate era, storms are more intense. There's more intense rainfall, more intense wind. The slower speeds actually often bring more devastation now. So the climate effects of these more intense hurricanes are having devastating effects. That's the bad news of these more intense, slow-moving, heat-driven storms in this area that pack a more powerful rain punch and flooding. If there's good news, it's that the storm system appears to have weakened somewhat as it's moved up the east coast of the United States, and that our communities and towns, because they've faced these stronger storms over the last few years, are taking greater steps to prepare. Now, there's still a long way to go to become resilient to these effects. We do have a responsibility to help our communities better prepare, and we also have a responsibility to recognize these unprecedented effects of climate change and to act now to reduce those threats.
Right. Sherri, I mean, more and more videos and images are coming out of the Bahamas now. Can I ask personally if you've ever seen anything that looked that apocalyptic?
I have not seen. This seems to have topped even the strong storms that were suffered in other parts of the Caribbean last year. So this does look to be generationally devastating. And the U.S. Coast Guard and the Royal British Navy have both been in there to help with the search and rescue. The first task is always to help those in harm's way, help the survivors, and then enable them to have food and water and shelter. But yes, it's been a very terrifically horrifying storm that's affected that region. And I know that we will be helping as much as we can our friends and neighbors in the Bahamas.
Right. Helping in the aftermath, and you were talking about how looking forward we have to learn how to prepare our communities for the worst to come. But is there a way to prepare and potentially lessen the damage of future monster storms like this?
Well, obviously, the best way is to reduce the carbon loading in the atmosphere that is driving up the air and sea temperatures that are making these storms so much worse. That is not going to happen overnight, and probably know there's a lot of controversy about how we overall move to lower carbon energy systems and lower carbon future. That's the sort of most important sort of medium, starting now, but medium-term step that we need to take. But in terms of building resilience for communities, we're going to have to build buildings and hangars and runways that can withstand stronger wind and that can take more intense flooding. That, again, these are long-term infrastructure projects. They can't happen overnight. The good news is that the predictive analytics that are coming with new technologies will enable us to begin to understand and predict some of these events a little better so that we can, if people can evacuate more rapidly, they at least get themselves out of harm's way, even if it takes longer to make the infrastructure more resilient. That's what we're seeing now along parts of the east coast of the United States, where the evacuations begin even earlier to enable people at least to protect themselves. Of course, on the small island nations, they're at even greater risk.
Right. Sherri Goodman, great to have you. Thanks so much for speaking to us there from Washington.